Hey guys, Justin here. Quick note, there's some discrepancy between the lap you see here and the lap I analyze. It's because I lost that other lap. I don't know where it is, but they're within 100th of each other, so we're going to call it a day. We're not going to talk about it. All right, and also if you want to see these guides 3 days early, make sure to join the membership. Only $2 a month gets you both CFixed and ARCA guides early on the Friday before the week so that you can practice for the weekend. And right now I'm like a tenth off of what I was. But I'm also running a different line apparently, so I have no clue.
What's the temperature right now?
I'll check in a second.
And also, second exchange.
Well, that was better.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Oh, my computer was dying.
All right, let's take a look at that. So the run-up we're not going to talk about right now, but because this was on my second lap and I didn't really realize what I was doing. But if you're doing the actual run-up, it was just a pretty straightforward start high, then kind of make a straight line out of the exit and go low. Talk about it a lot. I'll probably show that off to eventually, maybe on the guide. On Monday, but this is actually a really good lap I got with lines. This is why I'm showing this lap because we go into one here and take a look real quick at the line that I choose. You see that I start on the high and then I'm going to cut down low. And now how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use a lower brake bias. I'm at 55 right now. You might be able to go lower, honestly, but I felt pretty comfortable. 55, dragging the brake at about 10%, if that, and then picking up the throttle when about most of the way down the hill, about half a lane before the yellow line, I start picking up the throttle. And we don't make it all the way to the yellow, but we take a ton of momentum through it. So in a perfect world, you might get down to the yellow, but there's a lot of bumps down here. So really what we're trying to do is go as low as possible while keeping our momentum. So you see, again, once I pick up the throttle, I'm actually unloading my wheel slightly and then getting it back to center to make exit. So you see, I'm already straight on the wheel by the time we're about right here. But because I was able to get the car loose, it actually kind of makes it on its own with very minimal wheel input. So we'll see how I got it loose here. So brake, brake, brake. If we pick up the gas early, and we make a bit of a correction and we kind of get it pointed down the yellow, then we can let it slide up to the wall on its own on exit. Okay, so now we're going to go to 3 and 4 here. And similar idea, but this is going to be a lot more bottom dwelling because the 1 and 2, I think the fastest line in 1 and 2 is that middle groove, but 3 and 4 you really want to be on the bottom. And a little bit of patience on the bottom too. The middle just doesn't work as well in 3 and 4 in my opinion. So I actually pick up the throttle very early to partial. You see we're not even at the apex yet, but I'm on the yellow line and the throttle's up to partial. So I'm holding that. And I'm almost all the way, I'm basically left sides on the yellow. And because this is hot lap, we can burn the tires a little bit. We can make this exit right here with full throttle and some wheel input. So I'm just trying to slide up to the wall, keep the car straight as possible, keep as much of the momentum going as possible, and we make it to the line. So this is about half a tenth off of what I think is going to be run this week, and that entire half a tenth comes from the run up. So these lines are pretty much exactly what you want to be aiming for. So we'll take a look at that one more time. So we start the brake very momentarily at about, I'd say 15%. And then we back it down to that 5 to 10%. And then we pick up the throttle to partial when we're almost at the yellow line. So not yet. Once we about get to the yellow line, we pick up the throttle. So instead of, all that does is it gets our car moving in parallel to the yellow line. If we were picking up the throttle when we got to the yellow line itself, we would hit the apron. If we picked up the throttle too early, we would get our car moving a little bit far from the bottom. So we just got to pick up that throttle about a quarter to a half of a lane before the yellow line and put it in partial, and that'll allow us to ride that yellow line for as much of the corner as possible and allow us to make a straight shot of the exit because the exit of 4 is pretty wide. So that's how we utilize that wide exit. We just took a lot of momentum to the bottom, kind of got it going straight, and then powered off by using the width of the track as a cushion. All right, so we just did a race here and we got one of the luckiest wins that I think I've ever gotten, and we'll see why. So we got the pole off the start, which was pretty good, but this was kind of a caution fest of a race. So we had one run that I'll go to in a second, but there really isn't much to show you in terms of the first bit because we didn't really get to run very long. But I don't think I had the best long run line because I think I entered too early to the yellow. It seemed that the people like Briar and Matthew were able to do was oh, we got the caution there, so let me go to the long run. There was just two really quick cautions that kind of screwed things up. So here we kind of had a 10 lap run or so. And you can see that they're saving tires by entering into the corner a little earlier than me. So you see here, what I'm doing wrong here is I am getting to the yellow too early, and it's causing me to start washing up the track earlier, and I have to use more wheel to keep it off the wall. Whereas let's look at the difference between what the 4 here is doing. He takes it a little easier, gets it to the yellow line later, and is able to keep it on the bottom for a little longer, and he uses less wheel on exit. And you'll see the same thing right here. So you see he takes a really long time to get to the bottom and a super late apex. So let's look at what that looks like in the cockpit. I want to show you guys the difference. So this is what I'm doing right now. So you see super early to the yellow, and then when I throttle up, it just kind of slides up a little too early. And then, I mean, that's fast enough, but it's not saving as much tire. So let's look at this. Just dragging the brake, bringing it down really late to the yellow. Yeah, that's definitely better. So that's good to know. That's good to learn. I want to look at it one more time from Briar's perspective. So you see, really easy into the corner, just gets through the bumps, and just really late to the yellow, and drive it really straight off the corner. The angle that he took off the corner was so much better than mine. But anyways, enough of that. So I think we got a caution, lap 13 or so. Yeah, there we go, somebody spun. So we're coming down pit road here. And this was something that I was thinking about, but Briar here ended up taking 2 tires. And the reason that you take 2 tires is that essentially when a track gets really tight, which what Iowa does on this set, 2 tires is just going to make you looser. So if that's something that you want, then you can get track position and not really lose much of the downside. So here we go. Where 2 people stayed out, but they were dead on tires, so it took us a couple laps to get by both of them. And so then I got kind of stuck behind Briar. I was I felt a little faster. He was holding me off with his air, and I would try to get a run on. I think this was the way to do it, but I just didn't execute it well enough. I used the outside for 1 and 2, and by the outside I mean the second lane. Because something about the outside is you do not want to be by the wall on 1 and 2 because there's bumps that will just send your car straight into the wall. So I ran 2nd to 3rd lane to build a run. And then I used that to drive under him into 3. But I didn't send it hard enough. If I sent it a little harder and slid up, I might have been able to clear him. I wasn't confident enough in that yet. And then something interesting here. Let's see. When is it? Ah, it's got to be this last lap here. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, I actually tried the top in 3 and 4 here. And I was able to get a really good run here. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to slide job this and see if it works into 1. So I slide, and I cleared him by too much. See, he knew that the slide job was coming, and he crossovered. And because of that, it caused me to dive in just a stupid amount. And he was able to drive back under me. And the worst part about it is this is horrible on the tires. I just heated up my tires way too much. And suddenly, I'm just killing my tires trying to do these really aggressive slide jobs, and just nothing, not going to work. And my tires heated up so much from doing that that I actually dropped back really far over the next 5 or 6 laps. It took me till about, it took me 5 laps to recover my lap time to Breyer because of that slide and the heat in my tires. So if you're going to make a huge move like that, it better work, or else you're going to pay the consequences. So anyways, I got bailed out here on lap 49 or 50. We got a caution. And so I got to catch back up to Breyer, and I said, okay, well, if 2 tires worked for him, why can't it work for me? I know that Breyer is going to put on 4 because he has his lefts from the start of the race. So I'm like, all right, let's try 2 tires here, even though that there's like 35, 40 laps on the left sides. Then I made a stupid mistake here that ended up being a little helpful. I fueled the car. Now, something that a lot of people do when they're taking 2 tires is they don't take fuel. The reasoning being that fuel makes your car loose if you have a full tank versus an empty tank. And so doing a full tank of fuel and right sides is like double loose, and they're just going to add on to each other and you're going to slide. But if you do no fuel and right side tires on short run, you're actually going to be more balanced. So I should have not taken fuel here, but I did. And I was like, crap, I'm screwed. So we go back racing with 5 to go. And I'm just hanging on for my dear life, but it's not that bad. Like, Breyer's a lot faster than me, but I can defend high here, and I'm not dead loose. So he tries to go high. I kind of take a middle line, try to slide up in front of him, make him go under me. So he gets a really good run here. I'm thinking, okay, I might need to start committing high here, but I can't go too high because it's 1 and 2. That's where the bumps are. So I drive it in really deep and barely give him enough room, but he never got side by side to me. He gets to my bumper on exit, which actually slows him down a little bit. And then the caution comes out like right here. The caution comes out. I think Breyer might have been ahead of me. Okay, so the caution comes out right there. At this moment, the caution comes out. And at this exact moment, I am barely ahead, or at least at the last timing line, I was barely ahead. So I hold on to the lead by the skin of my teeth, and we go to a green-white checker. And again, I go early again just to try to get a gap. And then now it's like, okay, 1 and 2 are pretty even. I just got to get on the throttle really early. And he still gets a run, but it's not like a crazy run. So I go high here to defend. And now the caution comes out. But at this point, the caution came out right about here. But at this point, I think I defend 1 more lap here just by running the top because of how hard it is to pass on the bottom. So I might have had this race won either way, but regardless, I got absolutely bailed by the caution. So there's a super lucky win on our hands, and you love to see it. Yeah, that's where the caution came out. So yeah, interesting race. We somehow come away with the lucky W. You love to see it. So the long run, just make sure to apex as late as possible on the bottom to save tires for a long run. And then if you're trying to pass somebody, you want to get a run on the top and then try to dive bomb on the bottom without killing your tires. That's easier said than done. And then the last note that we learned today is pit strategy might be able to get you a lot, especially if it can get you clean air in the lead. 2 tires is amazing. So just a couple things there, and then we'll go ahead and we get the W. Really awesome. think this was my first ever truck race at Iowa, so glad to get a dub here. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.